Um, oh my goodness, that was good. Oh, first tea of the day. Oh, fantastic. Mm. Um, my tea, so it just blew my mind that I don't have anything. I have anything in my head. Um, I was on my way to do something else, and we decided that cat needed to be groomed. She's an incredibly hairy animal. She's got a thick coat, and it needs to be it needs to be mowed. We need to get a little mower. And before you suggest any cat grooming tools, trust me, we have them all, except for a lawnmower, which we haven't tried. And she hates it, but at the same time, it's important. Not sure why I'm telling you that. I think that's what put so much time between me and the first cup of tea. Oh, goodness. The other thing I've been thinking is the reason that we do spring cleaning is that in the light of the spring, you can see all the dust, and you're like, "Oh my God, I've been living like in the dark for the last 5 months, and it's been bliss." And then you can see how much dust there is. Like, oh, this is terrible. Today's mug, one of my favorite films when I was a kid, The Jungle Book. We used to get. I don't know if they still do this. They seem to mostly now do stickers, which is kind of lame. But anyway, so like when I get bananas now, I get stickers whether I like it or not. Stickers for like Frozen 2. Frozen 1 was enough for me, boy. Oh, God. What an empty thing that was. It was like getting some frozen product at McDonald's. It had no flavor whatsoever. Yeah, probably even the sugar was fake. Anyway, Frozen 2. So yeah, the best thing that Frozen 2 has done for me is produce stickers on my bananas, which I duly peel off and stick on the fridge. Somebody has to do it, damn it. Somebody's got to keep. Well, we've got lots of stickers by now. Anyway, when I was a kid, it seems to be the thing. We used to get Shreddies, and you would get Shreddies used to put toys. I guess it was Nabisco used to put toys in Shreddies. I think because Shreddies was such a long shot meal, it was such a hard sell for mothers. They were like, "Look, toys." Anyway, in our case, it was Shreddies. And so for a while there was a promotion, depending on what film was on, there were promotions for it. So there was a promotion. There were promotions for quite a long time for the Jungle Book. Again, this is one of these things that seemed like it went on forever. It went on forever because every box of Shreddies we got Kaa the snake, and the first time you got Kaa was kind of fun. These were designed. I looked them up later because my sister and I were trying to figure out what were the toys that we used to get, and they were some kind of like spoon. They were supposed to be spoon holders or something like that. Some marketing person came up with it. Anyway, they were decent toys actually, and they would just be sitting in the box somewhere. They didn't have. They were made of plastic, so they were clean, right? Parabens? What's that? You know. And we carried plastic around, and I remember reading about. I can't remember what it was in, but when the Japanese, after the war, in Japan, as of course they're occupied for 10 years, and they're like, these Americans are crazy. They love plastic. They love plastic so much they eat it, because of chewing gum, which I think was hilarious. Chewing gum is one of those. It's a Zudo, what a friend of mine would call Zudo. Which means ersatz, really pseudo, but she always calls it Zudo, so it's always great. it's like a character out of a movie from the 50s. And then Zudo came along, and he gave us a gun. And he told us, go behind that bank there and, wait for the robbers to come out. And zap them with your Zudo. Anyway, so plastic. Yeah, plastic was clean as far as we were concerned. Anyway, out would come these formed pieces of plastic, and they were utterly charmless, which meant we loved them, of course. And so, yeah, we got Caw, the snake. He had a knot in his little snake with a knot in him, because he gets a knot in his tail a couple of times. And it was a repeating gag. You could tell that Disney they were on hard times, and they were repeating whole gags. Oh, not this again. Oh, no. Go away. Hold on a second. Let me turn this off here. Jeez. Yes, don't show it. Oh, my goodness. I'm having more of an interaction with my VPN software than I am with people. That software knows me. It knows me better than I know me. So, anyway, so we wanted anything other than Caw. Sorry, I'm looking on the wrong side of the mug here, Caw. And Mowgli was boring. It was Shere Khan was what you wanted, or Baloo. Then we started getting Baloo. There was something we started getting. Oh, it was the Louis Prima character. We started getting King Louis. And, of course, we got King Louis, and that was it. We just kept getting King Louis. It was like King Louis, King Louis, King Louis. After a while, you'd be like, and then you would dither about whether or not you were going to dig for the toy in the box, or were you going to wait for it naturally to appear? Well, it would always shake down to the bottom because it had a different weight than the Shreddies, which were light. They sort of Shreddies just floated to the top of the box, even there was nothing else in the Shreddy box. They just floated up. Shreddies. It was bizarre. Anyway, so eventually, so there would be sort of like a discussion at the breakfast table, or sometimes maybe a little somewhat heated discussion. Not a fist fight, but just a little bit of a heated discussion as to what was going to happen. And then you'd wait for the magical moment where the thing would pour out into the cereal, which always, didn't happen. So we usually go rooting around for it, touch every single Shreddy in the box. And then you'd like, oh, King Louis again. Oh, Caw. Oh, great. We only have 4 of them. 4 of them. That represented 4 boxes of Shreddies. Yeah. Anyway, so all of this reminded me of something. I think it just the cup reminded me of. What a beautiful movie that was, though. There were some wonderful moments, and animation of Bagheera, I think particularly. Shere Khan, they always talked about how they actually hand animated his stripes. So Shere Khan is the bad guy, he's the tiger. And when he turned, there's a point when he turns, and they actually animated the stripes by hand because they're 66 when they were making it. Yeah, you can just imagine your job there. It's like, what are you doing today, hon? It's like animating a stripe on Shere Khan. I don't think that's actually the way it worked. I think they gave the job to one person probably to track the. Unbelievable. Yeah, so it's a bright day, and a lot of cats in it, either Bagheera, Shere Khan, or our cat Shoga, who needs grooming. Well, not anymore. She better not need grooming anymore. Well, I carded this cat like a sheep for the better part of 20 minutes. I got a whole nother cat off of her, which I should have put some googly eyes on and just let it roll around the apartment making cat noises. I should have put a bell on it. And then she would have been like, "Oh, who's this other cat that looks like me? Smells like me, looks like me, but has these googly eyes." Yeah, she's got these sort of funny. She's got this funny expression. I guess we all have funny expressions. Anyway, she's got this funny expression. She's sort of permanently. She looks permanently wounded. Yeah, she's a nice little cat, though. terrified, but I feel her pain. Oh, I had a cat once. Oh, this was the best cat. He was just wonderful. He was, oh man, he was terrified outside. He couldn't stand to be outside. Loved to be inside. Inside, he bullied his brother. Outside, he was a coward. It was, it was like, oh yeah, you're my spirit animal. Yeah. Spirit animals. My toy for today was going to be something else, but it turned out to be this. It's a Zuni fetish. This guy's a little wounded. You can see how fine the carving is. I don't really want. He's a bison. You can see just how particularly fine he is. Well, it's a little bit light. Eh? There's a bit much light on him. There's a high quality webcam. I should get a GoPro. Anyway, he has these. That's lapis, I guess. Oh, I'm gonna get this wrong. Somebody's gonna let me know. Anyway, he says a second horn. I still have it, but it got broken off at some point. So, but he has this wonderful. If you can't see it, he has this wonderful sort of like he has the bison's shaggy part of the coat. He's very good. He's really very fine. Yeah, the Zuni fetishes are it's a whole world. I mean, it's a whole world of belief, and the carvings are gorgeous, and they're all kinds of sizes, and they can be very. So there's a sort of a wheel sort of different. There's a corn maiden, and there's the bear, and the healing bear, and there's a lizard. Yeah, there's a lizard of some kind. There's a mole, I think. I'm not sure. Some of them are historical, and some of them are more recent, where they've sort of added them. They've added other animals. They've been carving, but the carvings are just incredibly fine. And if you go to the Four Corners, which is the American Southwest, which is, I can't even remember, it's Utah, Arizona, Texas, California, I guess it is. No, that can't be right. New Mexico. Oh, sorry, Californians. Everybody's like, damn, it's not California. It's like, oh, you're right. Okay, yeah, New Mexico, Utah, Arizona, Texas. And you can see some of the original villages that have survived because the desert is because of the environment, it's so arid. Some of the oldest habitations, basically, in North America, on the continent. Remarkable. Cliff dwellers. And it's one of these just astonishing cultures. Sophisticated, thoughtful, usual, soon to be wiped out by Europeans, bringing the silver bullet of Christianity. Anyway, but yeah, the one time I was down there with where was I? I was at a conference in San Antonio, which is in the center, sort of Texas, and San Antonio, well, is famous for the Alamo. It shouldn't be, but it is famous for the Alamo. The Alamo, I mean, for somebody like me, going to the Alamo was, I had to go, but at the same time, I knew it was going to be hard. And I think even now it would drive me nuts. I mean, it was just, you can't wear, like I had my hat on because it's so sunny out, no, you got to take your hat off because you're in a sacred place. It's like, well, the part of the Alamo that survived, because it was a fort, right? And then there's those great Gary Larson cartoons about the Alamo where there's a guy with a gift shop, and his, they're about to be overrun by the Spanish. all the Mexicans, and there's so this guy's got a little booth selling swag, Mexican war swag, and so this guy's got shirts that say "I kicked Santa Anna's butt at the Alamo," and he's marked down $15, $10, $8, free. He's lying there with an arrow in his back, but so the fortress basically was destroyed, was burned, but the part that survived was the church, and part of the sort of the magazine, the gun emplacements, which are, and so the whole thing is this shrine to the great American dead, or whatever. They're certainly dead, that's for sure, and. Yeah, so there we were. So that's what San Antonio was famous for, the Alamo. So, and it's this funny little, because it's for sort of a great, the Alamo, it's such a big deal, and then you get there, you're like, oh, it's this little, quite sort of modest church front, and you're like, oh, it's the Alamo. How about that? But anyway. So, but the San Antonio invested in a river walk, and so they dug out the center of town and they put in this river. It's a sort of massive engineering project. And all along the river, there are tourist shops and bars and the usual thing. And so it's a good place for a conference, basically. It's pretty, and there's nowhere else to go, so you have to go back to the conference. You can't get, taken away by the amazing sights of, well, if you're in San Diego, the amazing sights of the Navy. Oh, God. Ay, ay, ay. So, anyway, we're at the Alamo, or we were not. We were down on the Riverwalk, and I was in a place. I was looking for something. I can't remember, for a friend. I can't remember what it was, but I wanted to buy one of these fetishes. So they buy from local carvers, and then they resell, of course. And there's a lot of trade in silverwork, contemporary silverwork, and lapis. I have a feeling that is not lapis. That I cannot remember the name of that light blue. Anyway, that light blue stone, and I was there right. It must have been like 2003 or something like that. So the two wars were running hot, and America was like, fight, kill, go kill Iraqis, and oh man, and it was it was tedious. Well, it was enraging actually, and I was mostly pretty cool. I didn't lose my poop too often. But at the same time, I also stayed at a conference where I knew people who were anti-war or were pacifists or both, and many of whom were Vietnam vets, and so they were all like, "Yeah, this is bullshit." So that was a great relief to meet sane Americans, of whom there are a lot. I mean, that's the thing, is we don't read about the sane Americans. You don't see them. They don't come up in the news. The sane Americans are not the focus of the news. But there's plenty. There's millions of them. There's more than a few, more than three. Anyway, so I was in this store buying one of these little fetishes. They're not so little. Some of them are quite big. They're all gorgeous, though. They're they're beautiful. And I was, the woman behind me was kind of hurrying me up, and I was irritated, and it was not great. I was cranky, and I don't know why. I think just being in Texas was bad enough, I think. Because there was a yellow ribbon around everything. I mean, it was obnoxious. I was like, oh, please, what the hell? You're busy slaughtering a people who have been, you know, living under duress for the last 100 years, and you're putting yellow ribbons around your trees and everything that was like everything that was upright. If you stood upright for too long, yellow ribbon around your neck. Oh man. So anyway, so I finally got to the cash, and the woman was cashing me out, and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to," because whatever it was. I mean, these are not cheap little carvings. You know, they're like some of them can be less expensive, some of them. So it was going to be at least $100 or more. And she said, "Oh, I have to charge you tax." And I said, "Right." And she had needed ID to okay my card or something like that. And so she said, "Oh, you're Canadian. Oh, I have to charge you even more taxes," because she was collecting for the time she was collecting for the she was collecting for the harmonized. This was before the HST, so it was GST plus. So they had to collect, and I don't know. I was like, "Just charge me, whatever." I said. So she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry about that." I said, "No, it's okay. You have a war to pay for, or you have two." Actually, I said, "You have 2 wars to pay for." And she was like, "Oh," and she's like, "Well, she wasn't going to fight with the paying client, right?" So she's like, "Yeah, that's true." And the woman behind me, that was it. She went through the roof, bluey. Oh man! Oh, kaboom! It's the mother of all bombs, which is actually a thing as a 20,000 pound. Believe that, a 20,000 pound bomb, a 10-ton bomb, which they just exploded once. I think they only ever had one of them. They called it the mother of all bombs because Saddam said there was going to be the mother of all battles. So they decided, "Oh, well, we're going to rebrand that, the MOAB, mother of all bombs." And they had to actually, it went up in one of these Hercules, like a Starlifter, one of the biggest aircraft on the planet. They pushed this thing out the back. They opened the cargo doors, pushed it out the back, and it had parachutes on it because it wouldn't land properly. Oh, it was like attached to a pallet. Like this was, it was like, you know, they just should have, they just should have pushed like George W. Bush out the back. That would have exploded better. Anyway, then it went off, and it produced this mushroom-like cloud, which is what they wanted. They wanted a photo op. I'm like, just do some Photoshop, for Christ's sakes. Don't have a photo op. Do some Photoshop. Anyway, so the woman behind me, she said, "Well, you have Quebec." And I was like, "What?" We're fighting a war with Quebec? And I said, "It's a democratic difference of opinion." She's like, "Oh, no, you're paying for Quebec." And I was like, "Okay, lady, I'm out of this." So I hope I would act better now. I hope I would not, lose my shit like that. But it made me mad. It made me mad. And what are you going to do when you get mad, if you're lucky, you insert a little an insulator between you and the anger, so that before it goes off, before there's that instantaneous, what appears to be an instantaneous, trigger, there's the thing, and there's some kind of, the hammer hits the explosive and boom, off it goes. But if there's a little thin, just the thinnest slice of insulation in there, it may not go off. So you just need something which is just a second, just a moment to think, yeah, okay, this is my response, but I won't respond that way. Well, why not? I mean, why not just blow up? And part of the problem is that this was 17 years ago. I'm still thinking about it, and I still feel badly, I guess, because I was a guest in their country, and at the same time, bad as the Huey Lewis song says. That's those scenes in American Psycho where he's doing a deep a deep reading of Huey Lewis albums. I'm like, yeah, those are good. That's a good reading. It's great. Sort of like it's a Christian. Well, it wasn't obviously him, but the writer, Bret Easton Ellis, I guess it was, right, doing the sort of a deep dive on a shallow piece of popular culture. But anger. It's so unpredictable, and it just flashes back on you, and you get burned, and you're like, ouch. So I've kept this story, has gone on, making me feel, I feel badly. I feel, could I have said something else? She was not the right person to soak that up. This cashier, even if she was the owner of the store, she didn't deserve that. She could have been a liberal, for all I know. She probably was. Supporting the arts. Why did she deserve that? My sort of angry, upset. So I was upset about the war. I could have said, I'm really upset about the war. This is a beautiful piece of art, and I don't have a problem buying it, but I'm so upset about the war. I'm so upset that you people are paying for it, and the people who are going to pay for it are the people who can't afford to pay for it, and the people who are going to go are the people who are poor, the people who are immigrants, and the people who believe that they can get citizenship by joining up. Okay, maybe if I'd said that, that's what that moment of just that little air gap there between me and the anger and the thing itself, that I just would have, if I just had gapped it just for a second. Buying that little space, that little tiny moment, can take years. It can take years to figure out how to put that in. And it's not a done deal by any chance, by any long shot. It's not done by all accounts. I'm still still angry, respond angrily. And I sat down to dinner later that night with a veteran and his wife, and she was just a very calm person. I think you have to be if you're going to live with a veteran, especially these guys who are just so. There was just nothing to support them when they came back, and her husband was a tank commander. He was a tank platoon commander, so he had seen some bad stuff, and so she had obviously figured out how to live with this, and I said to her, I told her this story because I just felt badly, and she listened, and then she said, anger brings forth anger, which is a very Christian thing to say, and we were in the Deep South, and they're from Georgia, I think, but at the same time also very reassuring and very helpful to me, and I was like, yeah, that's really right, and I remember that too. I remembered sitting with her, and what a pleasure it was to sit with her and sort of hear about her life a little bit, and listen to what she did and who she was, and get to know her a bit. So that was very helpful. So I think now. So yeah, I went on carrying this event, basically. And I don't think I'm beating myself up. Well, maybe I am beating myself up about it. Okay. I don't know whether I'm beating myself up about it so much as just remembering that this is something that I did, and that it's not in a sort of let this be a lesson to me sort of way, but in a kind of, what could I have done? What might I do? Is this the way? Would I repeat that? and I wouldn't if I could get in there in time, if I could stop my my tendency to lose my crap like that and gate off at somebody. Even the woman behind me, who was obviously prepared to engage, and came out with this complete non sequitur, but you have Quebec. It's like, the last time I looked, we're not at war with Quebec. I mean, it might get a little hot, but, and I mean, yeah, I remember when Levesque got elected in 81, I think it was. And Terry Mosher, who is a famous cartoonist, a Canadian cartoonist, works for or used to work, I think he's probably retired, works for the Montreal Gazette, and he did these outrageous cartoons in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And he did a famous cartoon of Aislinn, was his pen name, and Levesque was an inveterate chain smoker. I mean, well, he was a chain smoker. He was always smoking, even when he met the Queen. He met the Queen. They were like, "No smoking when you're with the Queen." He was like, "Right, okay, chef." And then he got to be with the Queen, and then 5 minutes later, and he was holding a cigarette behind his back. Oh man, the guy was an addict. Yeah, he wasn't going to stop smoking for the Queen. The hell with her. She was just another Brit. Why was he? Who cared about that? And of course, the French wouldn't have dreamed to tell him to stop smoking. Can you imagine Mitterrand saying, "Oh, défense de fumer"? Not going to happen. Anyway, so Mosher did this. Aislinn did this cartoon of Levesque, pointing out at the viewer with the cigarette in his fingers, saying, "Okay, everybody, take a Valium." Well, if we can take that, it's not that you have to not be angry. It's like, be angry. Yeah, be angry. Just have a little moment between you and the anger, so that there's just that second where you can look at it and go, okay, yeah, I don't actually have to do that. And there isn't even time for a breath in a second like that. It's just a pause. This is the smallest pause. And then I think you can decide, is this what I want to do, or am I just responding because somebody hit a reflex? This Pavlovian monster came along, went bong on your knee, and your foot kicked out. Yeah. So now, and I find myself thinking about something, and I'm like, "Oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not asking you to not be frustrated. Be frustrated. All you want, no problem. Just have this moment between you and the frustration, so you can just even that moment. You're not thinking in that moment. You're just like, nothing. See it. Step back. There almost isn't time for a step, even. It's such a small, little, thin. It's like a page. It's like the thickness of a piece of tissue paper between you and the thing that's going to fire you up. Fear, anger. And in that second of a second, that millisecond, you notice, oh yeah. And then you can decide. Then you can take a breath. You're like, okay, let me take a breath. I'm not happy about this. What can I do? Maybe nothing. Okay. Well, do I want to remember this 17 years from now as being, one of my unwonderful moments, my less wonderful moments? Because I can tell you that remembering this particular story has been interesting to me over this time. and would I trade it away? No, no. I that's who I was 17 years ago. I was a lot quicker to anger, and okay, but that's not who I am now. I hope. Aha, another problem.